Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Shaka Hislop is with us, as is Don Hutchison. Don was with me in the shower today as I was getting ready for the show. He was doing his BBC commentary in the Leicester game, Don, and you were there with me, your beautiful dulcet tones.
Oh, I had a panic up for a moment there.
Don, do you prefer doing radio or TV? You've got a face for radio, some would say, of course.
I don't mind, mate. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I like being on site doing the comms. You get a good feel from the game.
Yep.
And Leicester were brilliant today.
Any way to pay the alimony. That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
What about the hoodie, Don? This has got to be a freebie, hasn't it?
No, it's not a freebie. I was just trying to thaw out from the Leicester game because it was snowing, it was freezing cold. I came back, and then 3 hours later, I was still freezing cold. So I just grabbed my hoodie and I thought, I'll lob that on. The lads will be fine with that. So
you went into a shop and bought a hoodie with a dog dressed in a suit with a polo name?
Yeah, a little Ralph Lauren number. I just thought it was quite
cute. There's the shameless plug.
That's the clearance.
There it is.
That's on the clearance rack.
You talk shameless. I've just watched the whole show and not once did you criticise any goalkeeper. What about the Australian fella that was on the halfway line?
Well, the defence was playing high up. Wellington was playing high up, that's all it is.
And Don, when I was in the shower, I heard you having a go that it was never a penalty in the Leicester game. Shaka said it's a penalty all day.
He needs to go to Specsavers because it was the most ridiculous dive from Tielemans I've seen this season.
No, it wasn't.
Never a pen.
That's a penalty.
How?
Because there was contact on Tielemans.
Don't give it the old contact one. He dived.
Contact.
Right then, let's talk about something that both of you know a lot about. When a team is struggling, like Liverpool or Borussia Dortmund, what do the players talk about amongst themselves? Do the captains have to step in and say something? Is a player only meeting needed, and are they ever effective? Don?
Oh, I've had loads of these in my career. I don't know if Shaka has as well, where you're in that much of a bad run of form, you will organise a meeting with the players, no management staff, no one's allowed into the canteen, and all the players will just have a meeting where it gets very, very heated, and you iron a few things out. You have heated debates, it nearly comes to fisticuffs, but you get it all out the way, and then you just move on the training ground, and no management, no coaches allowed whatsoever, players only.
Does it help, Don?
Yeah, it does, because if you don't have that meeting, then you would bottle things up for tomorrow and the day after, and then you know how the Premier League works and domestic football. There's a game just around the corner, so if you bottle it up and take it into another game, that bad run can linger, they can fester and go on and on and on. So sometimes you just need to clear the air, and sometimes you need to have a go at Shaka, and you need to have a go at the defenders, and the defenders play the midfield players the strikers, and everyone ends up blaming each other. And then you take it out in the training ground, and then the tempo of the training is actually dramatically improved because everyone's got the ump and everyone's raging from the meeting you just had. But it all just sort of goes away. Not overnight, it takes a little bit of time, but they certainly help.
Jack?
I never paid any attention in those meetings.
Well, that's not surprising.
We'd have been asleep.
Well, listen, in all honesty, I just, as a keeper, you just kind of feel separate from it. You know,
right.
You have your job to do. They have to figure their bits out. You know, sometimes they do point at the goalkeeper for whatever reason or the other, but as a keeper, you dismiss that quite easily because, as we all know, outfield players very rarely know what they're talking about. So you just dismiss it and you carry on.
But Shaka, I've seen you at West Ham have arguments with people like Christian Daly and Ian Pearce, and you all have a little bit massive argument, and Pearcey and Christian Daly blame it on me, and I blame it on Di Canio, and Di Canio blames it on Trevor Sinclair, and you all just have a massive argument, but it definitely helps.
I'd prefer to have those arguments on the field.
Right.
When something happens and you need to sort it out, you do it right there and then. When emotions are raw, when whatever is happening is there, and you aren't speaking in hypotheticals, but you have those arguments, and I think that's another thing that maybe people outside of those teams recognize. You can have the most heated of arguments on the field, and by the time the game's over, that's over.
That's quite unique. Like, say the show isn't doing very well, so we have a meeting in the ESPN cafe, and I say, look, Craig, I need you to take the A-League highlights more seriously. I can't imagine. I can't imagine everyone shouting and then everyone coming out of it going, "Yeah, no, you're right. We need to do this." But it's unique in football. Like, I can't imagine any other industry in which you can all shout at each other and have a go at each other and it actually helps.
Well, yeah, of course, it kind of depends on who it is and
Right.
you know, the kind of respect that they bring to the situation. But that's kind of part and parcel. You know, you spend 90 minutes shouting at each other anyway.
Right.
During a game, and that gets heated, and there are things said there. And then you learn over the years that you're playing football from the earliest of whatever stage it is, that once the game's done, you move on.
Don, you haven't brought that into the family scenario. You all sit down, everyone shouts at each other about what you're doing wrong, and then move on.
No, but I can't imagine you ever getting away with. You must watch the A-League more professionally to Craig, and then Craig goes, "Yeah, you're right, Dan. Actually, yeah, I'll take that on board." He'll be long gone.
Does Shaka think that Alisson could have done better on the Bruno free kick?
To see that going surprised me. It really did. And listen, the free kick itself was wonderfully struck. It was a fraction of an inch inside the post, right over the head of Thiago and Pogba. But just for me, Alisson is a goalkeeper I think is the best in the world.
Right.
And I expect, whereas 99% of other goalkeepers, I'd say, listen, I was just too well hit. With Alisson, I think he should get there. The likes of Alisson, Ter Stegen, Neuer, I think they get there more times than not. So I was surprised to see it work.
Remember the 0-0, Dan? Dan, do you remember the 0-0 when Bruno had the same free kick and he went for over the wall and back down again? He just missed by half a yard.
Yes.
I wonder if Alisson had it in his mind that he was going in the same place.
Oh, Don, eh?
Oh, with the little teddy bear sweater. That teddy bear sweater.
Teddy bear.
Bringing out the best in Don.
That was the teddy bear, that wasn't me.
Liverpool's next game, Don, is against Tottenham. And they're one of the sides whom Jurgen Klopp complains about sitting behind with 10 men and counter-attacking. Do you think at this form Liverpool will be unable to unlock Spurs' tight defence?
I mean, you're looking at the crystal ball scenario, aren't you? I mean, they haven't been great, Liverpool, trying to unlock that sort of defence. The team's playing a low block. But I saw more in Liverpool today. I saw more in Firmino's performance. Obviously, Salah got his goals. I see more in them. But the Tottenham are going to really frustrate Liverpool, aren't they? They're not going to move. They're going to more or less settle for a 0-0, try and be dangerous on the counter. So what the neutrals want, I think, is an early Liverpool goal. Not Liverpool TV, but then it brings Tottenham out. It brings Tottenham further up the pitch. What you don't want is a Tottenham goal, and they just all sit back and make the game boring and hang on to a 1-0 win. So I'm not expecting anything different from Jose's men.
Don, we have so many of these questions every day. What percent that Liverpool does not make the top 4 this season?
Ooh.
My goodness, that would have been a 0 a month ago, wouldn't it?
Yep.
I mean, I still think they'll make it. 30%.
Wow, that's high, Don.
Is it?
Yes, it's high.
Well, they don't
30%
make
to
it.
not make it.
30% not to make the top 4, Liverpool. You think that's about right?
I do, actually.
15.
Shut up.
But listen,
30% Liverpool not finishing the top 4.
who does then? Who
Manchester City do.
Right, City, United, Leicester. Who's filling that fourth spot?
I don't know. Are you as confident about
it's
Leicester?
It's less than 30.
You said 30, Don. You
who
said
said-
Yeah, I know, but then I thought about it. I thought Liverpool have got more chance to get in top 4 than Leicester.
This is such a weird conversation.
But who finishes fourth then? If not Liverpool, right? If we say the top 3 are City, United, Leicester.
Yeah, you keep saying Leicester. I don't think that's a given.
Okay, right, but then more to my point, who does?
Liverpool.
Yeah. So I mean, I think
30% is far too high.
Oh, so you
That's
mean
far too high.
Oh, okay, all right. No, that's all right. Let's just go with that.
I don't think you were paying any attention during it, Joe. I think you came in late to that.
That teddy bear is distracted.
Does Leipzig now choose to play the kids against Liverpool in the Champions League? They can still easily come out with a win, and then they would be able to focus on the domestic title race.
What?
So, I think that's tongue-in-cheek, surely. That's
It's
got to
got
be
to
tongue.
be.
Yeah, I think that's definitely got to be tongue-in-cheek. They're not going to win. They're not going to win the Bundesliga. Bayern are flying, and they lost.
Block him. Jesse Lingard, burner account. Get him blocked.
That's it. How quick are you to block people, Don?
No, I'm pretty cool, mate. I'm pretty all right. It's the ones that start getting abusive,
right?
And I'll give them a yellow, and I'll take into consideration, the heat of the moment, the game, who you support, and if they keep going on, then they get blocked. But I'm pretty cool.
Okay, let's go for it. How many people do you think he's blocked? What's our number?
30.
30?
Yeah.
I'm going to say higher.
No, I reckon less.
Really, Don? Quite tolerant.
I think so. Does it tell you on your account how many you've blocked?
Did you block Craig that time because of his lack of A-League passion?
Yes.
Shaka, how tough is it for a backup goalie to come in and perform in a big match? Were you impressed with Henderson today?
I was impressed with Henderson, and it's about the mindset, in all honesty. And to be honest, it's easier when you're a little bit older, coming in, when you know you're number 2, and...
Henderson's not that old.
I know, that was... Stop trying to interrupt me. I'm getting there.
All right, I just don't know why you brought that up.
I'm just saying, in my experience, I was a recognised number 2 later on in my career, and that was easier to do. When you're younger, like Henderson, and Henderson was a first choice up to last season, I think it's a little bit more difficult.
Don, stop giggling at number 2. We're adults.
I was gonna ask Shaka a question, actually, very quickly, Dan. Talking of foreign players, either coming into the Premier League or you being an Englishman going abroad, is it harder for a goalkeeper to settle in rather than an outfield player trying to learn the language being a keeper?
They're going to ask me that. I don't know how hard that is for an outfield player.
Well, no, but I'm asking you as a goalkeeper. Like, your communication, if you can't speak the language, it's got to be hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But if you're not, I mean, the comparisons with an outfield player, I don't know how hard it is for an outfield player to not communicate either.
They speak English in the Caribbean, Don. What are you alluding to?
No, I didn't mean that. I just meant it as a question. I just wondered what it was like because it's an outfield player.
I'm not an outfield player. I speak the same language everywhere I've played. How did you find it? How did you find it as an outfield player speaking a different language from everybody else? I don't know.
You're not getting my drift. I'm just saying as an outfield player, you've got a limited conversation. Man on, give me the ball. That's it.
Hold on. We started this with, I've got a question for Shaka. How does it feel as an outfield player not knowing the language?
Didn't mean it like you're not knowing the language. I just wondered what your interpretation would be as a goalkeeper with all your instructions and commandments rather than an outfield player.
Situations. We need to have a meeting, Dad.
Yeah, we have a meeting.
You need to have a meeting
But to be fair, you said when you got angry on the pitch, you'd go all Caribbean and no one would understand.
No one would understand. I remember Rio Fernandes saying that once. He's like, when you can't understand Shaka, you know he's really angry. That's when you know you've messed up.
Is that the same at home with the kids? When you're angry with the kids, you go all Trini?
Yeah.
What's worse, Kepa's blown save or Timo's blown penalty, Don?
Well, Shaka's not going to blame Kepa, is he? No chance. No, Kepa.
Kepa.
What kind of answer is that? Which one is worse? Well, Shaka's not going to blame Kepa, so I'm going with Kepa.
Oh, goodness. Right. Don, is the offside rule broken?
Yes. There's nothing wrong with it now. There's too much terminology. The Rodri offside the other day was a shambles because referees didn't know the rules, laws. Ex-referees didn't know the laws. Everyone was getting confused. You look at it with your naked eye and you go, Rodri's 25 yards offside, yet the goal was given.
But the referee knew the law. He interpreted it correctly.
No, but everyone was sort of second guessing when we're watching it live.
They weren't. They knew what they were doing.
How would you fix it? That's what I want to know. How would you fix it, Don?
I'll go back to basics, Shaka. And did Rodri look offside by being 25 yards offside? Yes, he did. Was he gaining an advantage? Yes, he was. Offside. The same thing happened in the Juve game, and the referee blew up for offside. Exactly the same scenario.
Well, they didn't know the laws properly then.
Well, either that or IFAB is terrible.
Right, well. Any funny or interesting stories of travel delays for a match Mechanical problems, breakdown in the middle of nowhere, or missing a team flight or bus?
I'm wondering, Don, were you at West Ham when Paolo stopped the flight?
Yeah, I wasn't. Well, that happened about 50 times.
So we're playing up north somewhere.
Okay.
And West Ham used to
Newcastle.
charter a flight, you know, the Friday evening or whatever it is. And this one time, so we go to Stansted Airport, we all get on the plane, get the instructions to sit down. You know, they have to go through the full routine. The plane is taxiing down the runway. And all of a sudden, Paolo Di Canio gets up and he's like, "Stop! I don't like it. I don't like it." So next thing, so now the stewardess comes bolting down the aisle. I was like, "Sir, you have to sit down. You know, regulations say you have to sit down." And he's like, "No." So now Paolo's running up and down. Plane is belting down the runway. So they have these other stewardess has to get a message onto the pilot. He has to stop his takeoff, turn around, go back to the terminal, let Paolo off with Roger Cross, the first team coach. Roger has to drive Paolo up to Liverpool or whatever from London. This is a 4-hour drive.
I think it was Newcastle, Shaq.
Oh, was it Newcastle? So has to drive him to Newcastle. So now everything's shut down. And then we had John Moncur. He hated flying. Yeah. So now, because of Paolo's reaction,
he's off.
He's just in a panic all flight long. He's just in a panic because Paolo's like, "I have a vision. I have a vision." And so now poor John is just like, he's totally gone all flight. He's in a cold sweat all flight long.
Right.
I mean, the flight itself is 45 minutes, if so much.
Yeah, why didn't you just tell Paolo to sit down?
No, you can't. You can't, Dan. Once he's afraid.
Paolo he's got this in his head and he is running up and down the aisle just screaming,
right.
I cannot.
Wow.
I mean,
we had a team, Dan, didn't we, Shaka, of pure pranksters. And I think what happened was someone leant in Paolo's ear and they sort of touched like the window and went, "I'm pretty sure that rivet is loose in the window." And Paolo went, "Wah!"
You know what? I remember this well. Somebody sitting next to Paolo and they were saying, if you hear the bell like bing 3 times, that means that's code for the stewardesses for an emergency. No. So they had this all set up. So whoever's sitting next to Paolo says this to him. The person sitting next to them presses, so the call bell for the stewardess makes a bing. So they do it 3 times. Bing, bing, bing. Paolo's like, "What? No!"
And what were you doing to John McCurr when he was in his cold sweat? Was everyone being supportive or saying we're all going to die?
Everybody's trying to be supportive. John is as big a nut as Paolo Di Canio.
Right.
Different kind. But John is loopy as anything. Honestly, you can't make this up with that mob.
Wow. Shaka and Don, finally, have you ever eaten food you shouldn't typically eat before a game? Pizzas, burgers? If so, how did you feel?
Well, before, I remember, again at West Ham, the routine was every Friday we used to go to a little cafe right by Upton Park.
Right.
And have, was it Bubble and Squeak?
Yeah, sausage and mash.
Yeah, we used to have Bubble, because that was a typical East London thing.
But the whole team?
Not the whole team, it was about 5 or 6 of us. But that was our routine.
Right.
Just go have these greasy sausages, Bubble and Squeak in a cafe. Every time you walk in, you could see the people like, what are the players doing? Because we just in the middle of the high street, right in Upton Park. So that's as close as I came, I can remember.
Don?
I was very lucky, me and Steve McManaman, when we were at Liverpool, that the 2 of us were about 4 stone wet through. So Ronnie Moran, the great Ronnie Moran, who's now watching down on us all, tremendous coach and a tremendous guy, had the idea at the time that Don Hutchison and Steve McManaman could drink a couple of pints of Guinness every single day to try and build their bodies up and try and build them up. And this was at Liverpool, and me and Steve McManaman were drinking pints of Guinness every single day. It was amazing.
Yeah, the diet at Liverpool wasn't that impressive from what Stevie was telling us as well, with his packets of crisps and Coke.
No, Stevie would have been devastated watching us 2 drink pints of Guinness every day.
Hey, that's it, boys. Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of today's show. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Yeah, look after your Teddy.
Night, night.
What a weird thing, grown man to wear. There we go.
I'll see you in the shower tomorrow.
Oh, can't wait, Tom. What a beautiful moment for us all. Okay, join us tomorrow. We'll be looking ahead, of course, to that big game between Liverpool and Spurs. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.